that? Waterside chat, folks. Is what I wanted to do today. So, love plus art equals wellness. Heart Happy Hour, Season 7. Precious Mother Love, you guys. I'm here to talk about some more bells and whistles. I started hearing the birds chirping, and I've heard that helps to open up the flowers. That it helps the trees and things, the leaves. They sing them into like their tunes, their tones, their notes, their frequencies, accentuate each other, complement each other, synergize with each other, kind of thing. Sorry for the bumpy walk. I do have one leg longer than the other, so I am a wobbly walker. So again, love plus art equals wellness, family. This is where we are. These are the boats slips. This is a boat ramp and a little bit of shoreline. So I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm hoping you can. I'm gonna go make my way down to the water, but a few things I wanted to talk about, because I've started listening last week. My live Facebook Live. I'm sorry. I tried Facebook Live today. That's probably why it came up. Freudian slip, right? I tried it today and the signal went wonky on me. So, overhead wires, no sailboat masts higher than 25 feet. All right. So, I'm going to stand here for a hot second. I think some things are about to happen down here. But so I started hearing some church bells, and the church bells reminded me of as a child how they used to chime every hour on the hour, right? And it's a certain tone and certain frequency, the types of things that we don't know that there's signs and symbols going on in us, but they are picking up. Our body is tuning in, like the when we start listening to that 963 or 46 whatever and blah blah blah, all of the different frequencies that they say accentuate or connect with or um, what do you call that, amplify some of the things that uh, I, I think that are triggered, like for instance the dinner bell, that triangle, even in the symphony it's like the cherry on the top. It's you remember it's one of those programmings. So remember at night before TV went off, the noise would come on the TV. I don't know, it was a high pitched frequency and it'd be boo, kind of like when the heart machine uh, flatlines. Dang, I just reminded myself of that when I emulated what I thought was that sound. Anyway, these are bells and whistles that we may or may not be paying attention to. We got to pay attention more to, the it's the way the animals, the birds, the bees, the insects, they all communicate with each other in some sort of frequency or sound, you know. Um, and those things, if they enhance the flowers, the trees, I believe they would be affecting us as well. So we would be, it would be opening up us up to stuff. Which reminds me, I was looking at this video of, and I think I'm gonna start walking back to my vehicle now because people are going. Oh no, they're not coming this way. Oh, okay. Well, those are. They'll be coming this way shortly. You see the other canoes and stuff. So this is a water way boat ramp. So anyway, so I was talking about how I had heard this. I saw a video of these breath or breathing techniques, and they gave sounds to do with the breathing that would help with releasing things from the heart, from the spleen, from the lungs, from the different systems, and so on. So it seems like, oh, hey, gamer, Game TV 1939. Hi, One Love and Wellness. So okay, so I'm gonna turn around and go back, but I wanted to talk about the breath that I had learned, and it was in reference to, and I'll turn it back around to me, Ashe. Okay, so you got these breathing techniques where you're able to, oh, I hope I closed my windows. There's somebody by my vehicle. Okay, no, maybe not. But anyway, so the breaths have the beginning of certain words. Oh, get it out my face. So the breath has the beginning of certain words, and those words, like happy, heart, who, whose, shock, shoe, chew. So shoe. Ooh, what is this? You don't know. I don't know. Sound hollow, like it could be a seed. Kind of bouncy. It's probably a seed. It's probably from the tree. Anyway, so these breathing techniques, the way they came in, it was triggering some things when I tried it, which made me think, all of these things that we're hearing as you hear the engine crank up, because I'm about to crank mine up too. Hey, I love and wellness. So yeah, so even though we hear these consonants, these different, let's turn on the AC. You pronounce your words a certain way. Certain letters have a certain sound. Those sounds have a certain frequency. Those frequencies have certain triggers in us. Again, known or unknown, they're triggers. They're things that will happen regardless of your knowledge. Oh, and if I turn it on too high, you might not be able to hear me. So let's turn the little fan off that I had on. Sorry for all the whooshing that you might hear at the moment. Cooling this bad boy off. So, but so we're hearing these words. Okay, so I'll tell you some of them that I saw. I mean that I saw on the video that I thought were interesting to know about. So, for instance, and just all the way out till your breath is gone. That saying that S to me sounded like a snake, sounded like sort of a slithery sort of thing, right? And then it was said that it releases sadness. Now, when you say release the kraken, you say release the sadness. So I'm saying, am I saying release in the same way? I don't know, because what they wrote, it wasn't said out loud. So I couldn't hear what they were saying in a way that they might have meant it, that the tonality might have changed the energy a little bit, or at least allowed it to be understood. So, in any case, so the S supposedly helps you release sadness and grief um, from your lungs. Okay. So then there's another, it's SHWOOO, and I thought it sounded like shoe. So apparently, I said it sounded like shoe, like shoo, get out of here, shoo. Which is also what it sounds like when you sneeze. Ah, chew. A little bit like that, because they actually spelled it CHW when they wrote out what it actually was representing. So interesting, like I said, shoot or achoo. That means get out of here. No more fear. No more no more. Let me see, what is it saying? Shoo, fear, and I can't read that second word that I wrote. It. Oh, fear and shock. Fear and shock, and that releases it from your kidneys, so to speak. So they say. So it said. I'm not sure. I cannot tell you that this is accurate. I'm just saying I saw something that said this. I would love to vet that, but I am sort of, while I'm talking with you about it, because it to me sounds like we're saying these words, adding these other vowels to them, And remember, stuff didn't have vowels at first, right? So these new additions, these new vowels that add new values, and that's something. Value and vowel. Again, adding different values into the equation of the frequency being emitted, communicated, transmitted, whatever. Because, sometimes it's in here that you actually hear it. Um, and I don't know if I don't hear voices. I do hear the words, but it's like my brain is reading the words, just like when I'm watching the videos and the words are there and I'm reading it. And so, anyway, cool thoughts. So, HA. Uh, so that's the beginning of you saying heart, happy hour. So, Heart Happy Hour, which is the name of the show you're watching, season 7, Precious Mother Love, One Love and Wellness. That supposedly helps with your heart. It helps you release impatience and hatred from your heart. Helps you release impatience and hatred from your heart. Isn't that crazy? Like, what? You're saying all these H words and you're saying things that you don't know. So if you're adding in some of these other values with it, mixing in some other energies with it, if you're adding the vowels, adding some value with the vowels, these sounds, these things that sound alike. Remember I said bells and whistles because hi there, whoever that is. Thank you for stopping by. These words that we're hearing, these letters, these spells are being deciphered. We're picking these things up. Look out for the bells and whistles. Look what I just said. So the shoo is to shoo away the fear, the shock from the kidneys. The s is to shoo, to vanish or vanquish, or what did it say? Release. Yes, it said release sadness and grief. So I thought it was the beginning of sugar, but it's all I can't get it. The S, I can't. Okay, so I was able to isolate the S. I was able to isolate the SH. Now I want to isolate the SHU like in sugar. Shoo, 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 shoo. Anyway, it helps release anger, frustration from the liver. Okay, and so the last one I'll say is like when you say whoo, like when you say woosai. So releases doubt, worry and doubt from the spleen. That was so awesome for me to come across that. Again, that was just today. And that was when I had decided I was going to talk about these bells and whistles. And the fact that I'm talking about the bells and whistles a second time is because since then I've started to pick up more, which it's like my inner ear, like down my ear a little bit more. Like that kind of a place of a knowing, like not just hearing in my ear, but it resonating in my inner ear, like the inner ear of the ear, whatever. So, school bells, church bells, dinner bells, triangles in the symphony, train whistle. Yesterday I heard a train whistle. They were, oh my gosh, there was something must have been on the track. There were 3 different trains that went by. I was only there for like an hour, and 3 different trains went by, which was crazy. So the train whistle goes again. That's a trigger. That's an alarm. That's a just like if you were to ring the dinner bell, people would know that bell rings when this is happening. So the train bell, the train whistle, whistled. I mean, like woo, woo, like like he's leaning on it, like woo, woo, woo. He was, and it didn't move. So, and they stopped a couple times. So maybe there was something on the track that they needed to clear away. But I said that to say, again, that's a tone, that's a frequency, that's a particular note. That is do re mi fa sol la ti do. It's a note. But speaking of notes, because these are things that are triggering us, right? All these electronic cars have some sort of sound because they're quiet. There's no engine. It's running by electricity. You know, um, they have sounds. Some sound like a choir. Some sound like angels. Some sound like a variety of things because I did an episode where I talked about which ones sound like what and what notes they were and who they were written by. You can always go back. I'll have something on the title about it. So, but thanks for joining me today. One Love and Wellness. Love plus art equals wellness. I am Precious Mother Love. You're listening to and watching Heart Happy Hour. I'm gonna turn the camera around and we're gonna go down the hill towards the water again. But one last thing that I wanted to talk about real quick. So, this is kind of the alley of bells and whistles, because I was taught, it started, the first episode started about bells and whistles because I was starting to hear like a psychic bell, like a doorbell would ring sometimes when something was about to happen, or um, uh, somebody would whistle or the bird would whistle. I would have different triggers like that, and it'd be like, oh, I need to start listening more to the bells and whistles. And so this week I've been listening more to those bells. This strong. I've been listening more to those bells and whistles, and it just is such an awesome understanding of the auditory, the audible, you know, the things that we don't even know, that like the dog hears like beyond the spectrum that we are uh, mostly able to recognize with, uh, for whatever reason. Um, oh, I don't have anything on but the car. So let's turn the car off and walk on out. So the last thing that I was going to talk about um, had to do with the event that I went to. And this is similar. This is very similar to the bells and whistles kind of thing, but similar to, so I went to this event in Richmond. Went with Pope Pablo and Serenus, and just let me turn this around so you can see. Here we go. So so at that event, that was also an art event, and there were some art activities that were going on in the area. And the place where they had the after event was at a secret society building, some sort of. It says it's I don't know, like a public private club or something. I don't know if I said that right, but it's a private club, but it's open, for different events if you wanted to do events. So it would be public then, but you're a guest for that event or whatever. It's some kind of membership club. But anyway, I got the impression. I mean, I felt all these vibes and energy, but let's see, what's this over here? I got the impression. It says recreation area registration. Okay, so you got open from sunrise to sunset. Okay. All right, so I should probably go read that, but I do see the no no swimming sign. Okay, so maybe I will walk that way if it looks like it'll get down to the water. So anyway, so I noticed, that there were a lot of artistic people. Artistic people are usually tuned into all this natural stuff, stones and energy work and wellness stuff, and whatever whoops whatever whoops it up for them. Oh yeah, let me read this. Okay, Permit required for horseback riding. Oh, I saw some horses riding down the street in the middle of the street, not the middle of the street, but on a regular car road, H Street Northeast. Saw some horses. It was about 5 people, and they were of color. They were melanated. That was like, oh my, really? Anyway, so let's see here. Prohibited looks like, so you can do hiking, you can't do camping. Okay, I understand all the rest of that. No big deal. All right, that's what I just read. If you get a chance and you want to see what I just read over, I believe I can abide by those things. But let me hurry up through here since there's nothing on my head. So yeah, so I was talking about the event in Richmond, and okay, so there were all these artistic people, all these people tuned in, all of the um, cultures were blending and mixing and having a good time, in their own separate spaces. So there was still some lingering around after that, and special events that were going on in a variety of. Oh, it's pretty stagnant right here, but kind of nice over there. So after the artsy things were over, after excuse me, I guess I'll stay still for a minute. After the artsy things were over, we went to this private event. It wasn't private per se, it was open to the public if you purchased a ticket for some music that I think there were some artists that were involved with coordinating with Red and Blue. They were part of the performance and that kind of thing. But I didn't stick around because while I was out there, I witnessed something of an energy work, energy marionetting, energy puppetry, people pulling other people's strings. I saw that happening. I was able to see something like a silver cord sort of thing, follow it back to its source. There was a table of about 6 or 7 people that was over near, not far from where I was, which I was parked right out in front of the event. And so they started doing their thing, and I started picking up on their thing and started watching them do some, I guess you can kind of say, pushing. They were um, doing some things that were controlling what the other people were doing. And I felt that come to me. I felt them try it. I felt them go from person to person that was trying to actually make a move on me. And it was like a dance. We were dancing. The energies were mingling, and one would stop, the other would start. And, you know, they went from, the one that does this kind of thing and the one that does that kind of thing, and each of them trying their hand at making me yeah, I'm trying to get ready for the hike up Stone Mountain, right? June 28th. So I don't know if I want to get in with some shade as I walk through. But yeah, it seems like it's a lot of, let me see, it's a lot of puppetry going on that we're really not aware of it until you're aware of it. And when you know it, you can't unknow it. And then the more you know it, the more you see it. It's crazy. Let me get a better view. Yeah. So anyway, the more I start thinking about all that kind of stuff, it's gonna be hard to give you the best view. The more I see that I'm picking up on the little signs and symptoms. Yeah, maybe the sky is not a bad view. The signs, the symptoms. This is the time things are opening up. Age of Aquarius is really, we're, enlightening. We're being uh, lifted to new heights, that we're capable of reaching. You know how they say they capped up some stuff, capped up the telomeres or whatever. So let's turn this around. Okay, it's gonna be time to go because I'm gonna crank the car up and get up out of here. So one love and wellness, love plus art equals wellness. Hope you got something out of what I just had to say. Listen for those bells and whistles. Tune in. inside and tune out. Be able to reach out and be in touch with that all that is. The bigger you think, the bigger you're in touch with, the more you're able to put the dots together, connect the dots, and start drawing your world to you more and more instead of missing the exit or missing the sign, So, all right, Love Plus Art equals Wellness, Heart Happy Hour, Season 7, Precious Mother Love, One Love and Wellness, and that is that. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe.